Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the SOC Talks with Joy and Sean. How you doing out there? And we're real excited today because we have some really special guests on here with us today, Dave and Lori Smith. Super Dave is how I was introduced to you, by the way. I could never figure. I remember my first couple times, like, who is this Super Dave? Why is he called
Prove it.
Super Dave? Yeah.
Super Dave and Super Lori.
Yeah. And then
or Wonder Lori. I'll go by Wonder Lori.
Wonder Lori. I like that.
That's good. Super Dave and Wonder Lori. Perfect. Okay. Wait till you see the intro on this when we put it out there. So we're super glad to have you guys here, and it's wonderful having you, Lori.
Absolutely.
So anyways, hey, just in the short time that we're here, tell us, I guess probably, how did you start with this? I mean, you and Cody have been friends. You guys have been friends with Cody like forever, right?
Yep. And Lori can tell you exactly how it started. Well, let me tell you the precursor to send out cards. I had an office warehouse out off the edge of town. It was a brand new commercial area, and I had an office warehouse out on the edge of town. And I had my some construction equipment in the warehouse, but mostly it was my toys, like the boat, the motorcycles, stuff like that was in there. And I'll make this very short. There is a long version, but what happened was I go out of my office. At the time I was running about 70, 80 guys in masonry construction. So I went out of the office at noon, usually almost every day. And I built this little track out behind me in this big acre area. And I would run that track as hard as I could. I'd throw my gear on real quick, run that track and just blow off steam. And I was getting done one day, riding back to my warehouse, and I seen this white Ford truck go by me to the other side of that 1 acre property where these new warehouses were built. And I don't know why I did this, but I go up to my office and I'm pulling in the door, and I decided to look back, and I seen this guy getting out of the truck, walking into this new office warehouse. And I was like, that guy walks just like Cody Bateman. And I hadn't seen him for about 12 years, by the way. I haven't seen him for 12 years. That guy walks like Cody Bateman for sure. I mean, I got to go meet this guy. So I jumped back on my bike, drove over there, leaned my bike against the new warehouse. And I says, hey, is anybody home? Who's in here? And he got all nervous and come walking out. And it was Cody, I mean, he didn't have his big, huge afro like we did last time I saw him, but that's how we kind of hooked up back in 2001. And he was working on a project outside of his regular company that he owned to send greeting cards, whether they were going to be e-cards or printed cards or whatever. He was still analyzing all this. So about once a week, I would go over and help him with stuff. We'd just shoot the breeze basically. And then he'd come over to my office once in a while. And I was in my office most of the time, and so was he. But he came into my office. This is a Super Dave thing. And they used to always call me MacGyver. But on my computer screen, when it went to sleep while he was sitting there talking to me, back in the day when the IBM laptops went to sleep, you could write something across the screen. And my brother had me do a affirmation on my screen. And it said, I am Super Dave. I just thought of it out of the blue, it was positive. So I wrote it. My brother was happy because we did an affirmation together. And then from that moment on, Cody called me Super Dave. So that's where that all comes from. So then what happened was when we got send out cards actually up and running through a few other companies that built up to send out cards, he called Lori, not me. Right? So tell him what happened. Lori.
Okay, so Dave did come home that night and said, hey, I ran into Cody, and I was shocked at first, and he proceeded to tell me the story and what Cody was up to and all this. I mean, talk about squirrel, we're in construction, and I know we were just talking about going from thing to thing, right? Like squirrel, when you yell squirrel, well, Cody asked me to come over to his office because he wanted me to do something. So I said, okay, and went over there, and he had me sit down at a computer and send a card This was not called send out cards at the time either, if I'm correct. Is that right, Dave?
Yeah, that was right once it was getting named send out cards.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I proceeded to fill out this card. And way back then, we didn't have handwriting fonts or photos or any of that stuff. It was pick a card, type a message, type your name, and hit the send button, right? So he said, I want you to sit here. I want you to send a card to somebody that comes to your mind. And he's like, that's all I'm going to tell you. So I'm like, all right. So I picked a card. And while I'm picking this card, I'm thinking, I'm going through them and somebody pops into my mind. And I thought, okay, I'll send one to this person. The person I send it to shares a birthday with Dave. And he is also a really big family friend, almost like a grandfather to Dave through construction when Dave was working for his dad and even before Dave worked for his dad. And this man and his wife always sent a greeting card to Dave on his birthday, like clockwork. And I was always the one going, oh my gosh, I forgot again, right? So I had never sent this man a card. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to send him a card. And I literally wept while I was sending this card. Because now by, the time I'm sending this card, he's much older. And he had moved to California with his daughter and stuff. But I literally wept when I sent this card. And I thought, oh my goodness, okay, I'll be honest, I was not a card sender, right? Just not. I had good intentions of telling people wonderful messages and whatever, and I was a little on the cheap end. I didn't want to spend $10 for a card. I'd rather spend it on a present. So really, I would write a message on a piece of paper or whatever and give it to them. And yes, that sounds horrible, but when I sent this card, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is something I can do because I'm not, I like easy, fast to get done what I need to get done. And as we learned, this is why send out cards came about, was to jump on and send a message to somebody you're thinking of really quickly. And, we just said, sign me up. Yes, I'll use this, right? I wasn't thinking, oh, we're going to go into a whole different field. There's the squirrel, right? So from construction to greeting cards, that's a pretty big
That's a jump.
squirrel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where we got started with sending them. And the opportunity came around. I was not in network marketing. I didn't hate it. I just didn't know a lot about it. I didn't understand it. And, we were doing fine with construction. Why worry about a second income? Why, this kind of stuff. So when Dave proposed that we sign up as a distributor, I thought, okay, that's fine. We can do that, but I'm not going to build anything, right? Because I was like, no network marketing. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Just forget it. But this, I soon realized that if you have a passion for something that you're using, you're going to share it anyway. And me, just I really didn't share it because I was a rep. I didn't understand how powerful network marketing was. But I found myself sharing it because of what it does for people. I found myself sharing it with people that were like, hey, I got your card. I really loved it. Show me how you did that. And mind you, we didn't have photos in the card. We didn't have all the stuff we're spoiled with, branding on the back and photos and signatures. We had pick a card, type your name and send it. And Dave and I built a significant business on that. Hugely significant business. I didn't even realize what we were building. That's how naive I was, right? So we started getting these checks in the mail, and I'm like, what's going on? Why? I still didn't get it because I wasn't concentrating on that. And that's how we build our business. So
and the key point to building the business, Lori, what we learned in the early days, there was no automation to any of it. But what we learned is we literally slid the computer, and there wasn't really good computers back then.
Yeah,
my big
dial-up.
clunky iPad, or not iPad, but IBM ThinkPad. Anyway, we would slide it in front of them and say, who needs to hear from you? And they would send the card, and if they got stuck, we'd help them. And that was the key to our success, because we tried it the other way, where we would send cards, and that frustrated me because I'm a man of work. I like to work and get stuff done. And to have myself send them a card was good, because it did get questions back from maybe 40 to 50% of them. How did you do that? But that was 2 weeks later, at least, or the next time I talked to them, a year later or 2 years later.
Right.
So Lori and I'm a systems guy, and I always track what works, and what worked was faster. The faster result was if they sat down at the computer and sent it to someone they cared about, not just to themselves, the emotion grabbed them and they were all in. And that's why we changed every strategy we ever had, and always have still to this day, stuck to them sending the card, period. That's what works fast. The results are good, and they have an emotional connection. So I don't know how I always turn things into a system, but I just did it again. Sorry. But that's what worked for us then, and it still works for us now.
So looking back on those years, did you have any, in your wildest dreams, can you imagine where it is today?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. In fact, I was the first person who got offered to buy ownership in the company. And I am another thing about me is I like to be in control of my own money, period. I had already done a few things where I wasn't in control of my own money. Somebody else was out there supposedly going to make money with my investment, and it didn't go well either time. So I was like, no, I'm not investing, but I'll help you. And you know what? I'm still that way. And I do some good things because of that mindset, but also some dumb things. And this might have been one of those dumb things, but I'm still happy. I'm still happy because I'm part of the game. And I got a residual income. They also put me in charge of a couple projects over the years. And in fact, right now I'm probably working harder than I ever have, more hours in a day than I ever have in my life right now. And I enjoy it. It's because I can see the results coming. Sendogo projects and SOC Pro app projects. The results, I can see them plain as day. I see them coming. And so that's fun to me. But yeah, I was one of the first person approached to be an investor in the company. In fact, I was one of the first founders members in the early days. And my founders was not bought. My founders was earned.
Okay.
Because I helped in the beginning of the company for free for quite a while, just to help my buddy get his company going. So I was awarded literally the first founders deal. So yeah, that's kind of something somebody doesn't know. Not many people know.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting when you said about how enjoying what you do. At every video that you've done with this SOC Pro, you have such a smile gleam about your whole look. It just is so positive. It's like there's no stress on you at all, when you're doing those, even when something doesn't go right, it's like, it is what it is. And you can see that on the whole, all of us watching can see that in you. So that's like really cool.
Well, I'm sweating on the inside sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but I've always been good at hiding my nerves, don't let them see you sweat. I believe in that theory.
Yeah. Well, you do a good job.
Thank
But
you.
He's got Lori sitting across from him, so that helps him smile.
He's always also been a believer in, look, send cards, help others send cards. That's it. Like sometimes we make too much of what it is we have here.
Right.
Yeah.
Not sometimes, most of the time.
Most, yeah.
Keep
it simple.
Oh, there's got to be an easier way, a faster way, this way and that way. Think about this and that and the other. And it slows us down because we want to be some fantastic new something that comes along, this shiny penny. And really, it still comes down to it from, 17 years ago? Send cards, help others send cards.
That's it.
That's
I
it.
remember a network marketing company I did 90s, and somebody spoke and he's like, look, this is what we're going to tell you to do right here. This is what you do. And you're going to do it. And then you're going to think, oh, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try. And he goes, you're going to come right back around here. And just like what you said, Lori, don't make it, just send cards and show people how to send cards.
Yep.
Done.
That is
How to get started.
That's what it is and has always been.
Right.
Where do I start? What do I do? And there's a lot of things that come along that help us build our business. I'm not trying to say anything about that. But if we concentrate on who can I help send a card today, right? Not like I've got to go find this business that sends 10,000 cards a month and all this stuff. It's like, look at the tens of thousands of people around you that'll send one card,
right.
2 cards, 3 cards.
And it's the wife. It's the wife of the CEO who's going to have the company who sends 10,000, and he'll come around to it later. Yeah. True. So don't chase elephants. That's another thing we learned tough, because our network was elephants, period. And we chased the elephants in the early day. And I realized, oh, that ain't working. So I would literally call the owner of the company, who was my buddy, and I'd say, hey, my wife needs to talk to your wife. Okay, have her drop by, and that's kind of how we did it. And then, and then that's what built Sendogo later on. But anyway.
And then, and then we have all the photos that come along and the handwriting font. And we want to I literally vividly remember standing there talking to a friend I'd run into and, hey, what are you up to, Lori? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this blah, blah, blah. And you can do this and this and this and this and this. And I was going off and just so happy. And so, and she was like, okay, gotta go. Right. And I'm like, oh boy, that I just throw up all over her.
Lesson learned, huh?
Right. So it's like, I was like, okay, all she needed to know is what I do. Right. And then send her a card and then follow up with her. Mm-hmm. Instead of, it's not really about the bells and whistles and the photos and the handwriting font. That's all great. And the branding on the back, that's all great. But I'm going to go back to what Cody says, let's send a card in 60 seconds or less. Show somebody how quickly they can send a card. And we've learned how to add a photo pretty quickly from when it first started, right? So try and keep it as simple as you can, because the more you try to tell them about the bells and whistles, this, that, the other, the more you're going to lose somebody in the, it just overwhelms them. Like, I don't need to know that. I just need to know why I should be and how to do it.
Right.
And how's this going to help me?
Yeah. And that goes even like when you're even presenting or showing somebody, it's like, find out what they're looking for first. You might not have to go through all of that. You don't have to do anything. I just had a new affiliate just yesterday was going on. She said, I've got somebody and they want to know about the compensation plan, and it's simple. It's this, look at your awards. It goes right along with it. And that's it. Well, this conversation was like, but what about, everything was like, I was like, no. Just it's simple.
And another thing with that, along that line, Joy, what comes to my mind is, tell me about the compensation plan. Tell me about this and the other. If you're talking, which is what I was doing, throwing up all over that lady, right? I'm talking. I'm not pointing to a tool or using a tool or basically using what we have. Well, if you want to learn what the compensation plan is, I'll send you a video.
Right.
Because number one, that makes it duplicatable for somebody to become an affiliate if they're interested. They're like, well, I can do that. I can send a video. Mm-hmm. But if I have to get on a phone call with somebody and tell them the compensation plan, they're going to think, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I don't have time for this. I don't want to do this. And they're out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. So if you're sending one of the tools, I'm trying to remember, they say, if you're talking and not using,
if your mouth is moving, you better be pointing to a tool.
And there was like 3 of them, and I can't remember. Sorry, pointing to a tool or using a video, and I don't know. I'll have to research that. But it was like, if you're not, we can change that now.
We can change that now. If your mouth is moving, you're sending SOC Pro.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Right, like things have evolved. We have the tools right here now. oh, you want to know how much it is? I'm going to send you a video. Right?
Yeah.
If you want, oh, you need it in PDF, here you go. Right?
Isn't she good, guys?
She is.
I'm
I
just
see
sitting
why you
here
guys are so
smiling.
successful.
Yeah.
Here's the deal is I don't want to spend my time doing that.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, no, you made a great point. Then you're making it easily duplicate. You're making
Duplicatable.
it
Bingo.
duplicatable. Because you're not trying to explain something. And people are thinking, gosh, I got to know that. I have to do, where it's no, oh, let me show you a video. Let me just
Yeah.
share that with you. Oh,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Instead of we need all this training.
Yeah.
Like if we need all this training, we're missing a boat somewhere, right?
Right.
Like I know my granddaughter, who's 8 or 9, can share the videos.
And she is.
And she can send a card.
And she does.
And she does.
Yeah, so everybody you talk to is literally, they don't know this, right? It's subconscious, but everybody you talk to about your business, they're thinking to themselves 2 things. Can I do this, and is there any money in it? Right? So if they can see that they can do what you just did, that's probably the biggest hurdle. The next question in about 50% of them is there any money in it? And that's easy to share with them very quickly if we just keep that simple. You don't want to show them, from starting in the business to Eagle. What you want to show them is starting in the business to manager, and the SOC Pro app just.
Then rinse and repeat.
By the way, Cody had his hand on that one, going from nothing to manager. That's our building block, period. That's
Absolutely.
all you need to ever worry about, regardless of your rank advancement goals or the rank you are at right now. It's manager. It's find the people in your team that want to get to manager and do that. If you
Over and over again.
if you want to get to senior executive, what you want to do is develop more managers.
Yes.
It's not about, we know what it takes to become senior executive if we're running for senior executive. So write that down, set the goal, but then forget about it and go do the actual activity that gets you to senior executive, which is creating managers, period.
So it's interesting when he says that because we didn't know we turned executive.
Or senior.
We didn't know when we turned to senior. Matter of fact, I can tell you the day I found out. We're driving along a road in Arkansas, and I'm like, Dave, look, there's an armadillo. Where was the armadillo?
They're duplicatable too.
I don't know which is correct, but anyway,
Right.
I'm like, I think that was an armadillo. However, unfortunately, it was not alive. It had been run over. I'm like, that armadillo. I was like, that's the armadillo that got run over. I mean, here we see, other things,
Right.
like mostly deer that accidentally.
Never seen an armadillo.
But I'm like, oh my gosh. And then a phone call comes in right when we're driving past this armadillo, right? Like, what a great memory. Anyway, so we're driving past this armadillo and Dave pulls over and we're told we are now senior executives.
Very cool.
So we didn't internalize, oh my gosh, I've got to get there.
Right.
You won't get there if you think that way. You just won't get there. If you're grabbing onto that handlebar and you're gripping it so tight, I got to get to senior manager or executive or senior executive, you are doing so many things just in that grip that kill that chance. It shouldn't be about that. The moment you hit to executive or senior manager, the next rank is obvious what it is, and you know what you need to get there. So it's about letting go of the handlebar and helping more people do what you did when you first got in, which is get to manager. We know how to do that. Everybody knows how to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like here you want this motorcycle, right? You want this motorcycle. You finally get the motorcycle. We're sitting in the vehicle called send out cards right now, or the motorcycle. We're sitting on it, right? And we can pour gas on it, right? We can, but like Dave said, you've got to be able to just ride as at an easy pace, so we're not crashing and burning and thinking we can't do this and all this stuff, right? Just loosen the grip. Can't let go of it altogether, right? Because then you're going nowhere.
Which we have several
So
times.
we have to find that balance, but it is about loosening the grip and just saying, okay, these are my goals. There's nothing wrong with having those goals, right? and then doing our daily activities, which now they've made so easy to do, right? I mean, like I said, we started dial-up. It's like, kill me now. That was horrible. And somebody's internet would go out right in the middle of sending a card. Now it's like so easy. Yeah. So why do we make it so hard?
Yeah, because we're used to doing that. I mean, it's just the way it has been, and you know, and it's too easy to go back there, you know.
It is.
But I'll tell you, well, you know, as we wrap up here, and there's no doubt in my mind, you know, you guys, all of us, I think on this call can see the vision, but I think you guys can see it even more what's ahead. You've gone through so many transitions and so many, you know, this is going to work. This is awesome. And this is awesome. This is going to be the best thing and all that. And then we're here today. What do you say about here today, Dave and Lori?
Oh, here today, we are back focused on what matters. We're back focused on a duplicatable process that's simple. I mean, that's what I feel. Like, I'll be honest, like for probably a couple of years, I just felt like, although I didn't stop working, I felt like it was much harder because of some things that were put in, and that the duplication wasn't there, and that, you know, and this could be all in my own thoughts because of where we had been from, right? Just showing people how to send a card, not photos, not branding, not gifts, none of that. And we built a huge business on that. So to me, like, I felt with all this coming back into play, I feel like we're back to that. Like all the blocks have been removed. Excuse me. And we have Sandogo that we can add to it as well, but it's so simple because we can say, you know, we get to fill out the people for the information and find out if they're a good candidate for Sandogo. We have to do our part. And then we get to say, hey, Dave, we have an appointment with this person, and talk to them. They have a question. But we know our part, what we need to do before we pass it on.
Right.
But we have all these things now that it's just so, it's been simplified. And like Dave said, if we figure, I'm just going to help somebody who becomes an affiliate get to a manager. No, we know not everybody's going to do it.
Right.
Right? They're going to have good intentions. The screen door gets broke. We all go through these times, right? We can't beat ourselves up. But it's about, you know, let me help you get to manager. I'm not going to do the work for you.
Right.
That's not what I got in business for.
Right. Right.
But I'm here to help. You move, I'll move. Right? So I'm going to follow your lead, and I'm going to keep building my business while you're over here deciding really what you're going to do. I'm going to show you, you know, you learned what I did. What brought them in was the simplicity, the duplication. So if they're not willing to go do that, I'm not going to spend my time pushing them to go do it.
Right.
So we know, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, Dave, you probably know better, but only so many people are going to actually follow through with it.
Well, it comes down to two things when we first started. Send cards and help others send cards. That's it. Okay. And don't chase rank. That was taught to us very early on from Cody Bateman, which, by the way, worked big time. So we shared genuinely something that we like to do. And we accidentally built an income that saved our butts in 2008, like saved our butts. Now,
That's
I'm
right.
going to tell you one more thing. Lori had brain surgery before that, which made me lose focus on 70 men working for me. And I literally went from 70 to 13 guys in a year because Lori had brain surgery, and I didn't care what happened to my company. I was taking care of my wife. In that period of time, those checks that we accidentally built that I thought were silly, seriously, saved our bacon. They paid our bills. They kept us alive. They kept our house going, which wasn't a small house. It wasn't, something that most people would have had at the amount of income we were bringing in at send out cards, but it saved our bacon. I mean, it totally did. So it's like, okay, a light bulb goes off 2007, 2008. What built that income accidentally was we helped somebody send a card every day, and we sent cards every day. We have one more thing to add to it now, which is fuel on the fire, and that's earn awards. And you know what? The awards from senior manager to senior manager and above, they all matter to some of us that have higher ranks, but they are not important at all. What's important is first signed up to manager. That is the fuel on the fire. Those awards, if we can keep our new people that want to build an income of $200 to $300, which is what this industry is built on, those people catch the vision of $200 or $300 more a month, and we give them awards that actually help them get to that, to the manager rank. We just started duplicating faster than we ever have, period. And then what happens is we stay here for a year from now while doing that activity, building managers, and then you might possibly be making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. It's about how many people do a few simple activities on a consistent basis. That's it. And it's not about me going out and recruiting the world. It's not about Lori going out and recruiting the world. It's about me recruiting, showing the product every single day, using the product every single day, and earning awards for either myself when in the beginning, and then focused on others once I hit manager. Then my awards keep building and my income keeps building as long as I stay here a year from now. And then the next year, you make another commitment. I'm going to do that same thing again to be here a year from now. That's how this thing works. We've been here 18 years and we're having fun. And I don't know that we've ever had as much fun as we are right now, guys. It's like incredible.
No, I love it. I love it. And I feel grateful and blessed that I'm able to go share this type of a business with somebody. And not only that, the sticking power.
Nope, we're going to bring them together.
Back in your room.
That was your break.
And the sticking power of our product. Even if somebody decides they don't want to build the business, they continue using it. No, that's not everybody, right? But a good majority of people will continue to use it or come back to it.
Right.
Yep.
And we have like the best opportunity at our fingertips right here. Right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right?
We do.
So
Okay.
build managers and go help people build managers and send cards, help others send cards.
That's
And
it.
you'll build a significant business.
Lori's so passionate. She's
Perfect
so
ending.
passionate. It's
Yes,
just like-
perfect ending. Guys, thank you
Perfect.
so much for being on here with
Am
us
I
today.
overly passionate about it?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yes, very much. Well, hey, thank you very much, Dave and Lori. We love having you on here. And for our audience, real treat here today. And we'll see you next Thursday. Stay tuned for us. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
Take care.
having us.
Bye.